Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Brian. Today I got a surprise for you. The public schools, are they good or are they bad? A lot of people have to work for a living, long hours. Basically your schools are like babysitters. I mean, what do they really learn at the schools? I mean, when I went to school, I don't even think I used 10% of what I learned at school out in the real world. I don't even think it's 10%. They're useless. And the reason why they're useless is because Maxwell's, and we all know who Maxwell is, very evil woman that's a lot to do with terrible things. Her father owns the books that you're buying in these public schools. I bet you didn't know that. I found out the hard way. I was probably raised in the same system. That's why your school system is so jacked up with, books in the library that are horrifying for kids. And, your teachers and your people running the schools are just as bad because they don't do nothing about it. I guess they get paid to do what they're doing. Like we call them minions. But yeah. But anyway, the schools decide, I think there's two different kinds of curricula you can take. And the one that the public schools chose was Maxwell's father's books. And they're not very good. You're not learning pretty much nothing. Your history's all wrong. You could think about this. If you could teach your kids at home, which I know, you don't have time, you got to work, you got to pay the bills. I get it. That's the system. So that way they can take your kids at school, indoctrinate them, and make them, pretty much what they want. But it doesn't really have to be that way, does it? I've been telling people that I know for a long time, because I learned this lesson, I would homeschool them in a heartbeat. They're going to be so much more intelligent. I mean, when I say more intelligent, I mean they're going to be probably 80% more intelligent, because only you know your kids, right? They don't know your kids. They don't know nothing. It's just a number to them. It's just a revenue for them. And, oh yeah, Trump, what happened to the money follows the child? What happened to that one? That would have been really nice for a lot of these people that are trying to homeschool their kids, but they can't because because the money's not there. Because if you don't make enough money, and if you can't have enough time. But the thing of it is, it only takes for like a first grader, let's say. A first grader, you can go through your schooling in 30 minutes. But then they're in school for how long? 8 hours? They're away from home for 8 hours, but they only have 30 minutes of curriculum that they have to go over. That's ridiculous. I mean, look at the schools. They don't care who they hire. I know for a fact that the reason why I know somebody pulled their kid out of school is because they were hiring PEDs. Yeah. And they didn't care. What happened to the background check to keep the kids safe? They are responsible for your kids. Teachers will even talk to their parents. And I know this for a fact, because this happened, and I know all about it. Teachers will talk to the parents and say, your kid needs to be on some kind of a drug to calm them down, or this or that. And then when the parent doesn't listen, because, they shouldn't, because no kid should be drugged. That's not even, don't even get me started on that. But when the parent doesn't do what the teacher says, you know what they do? They go to the child. First grader. They'll go to a first grader and say, if you go to a doctor, when you go to the doctor, you could ask them to put you on something to help you with your thoughts and your mind and stuff. I mean, they talk to them that way. I was very shocked when I heard this. But your kid is pretty much in danger at these government schooling. Totally unsafe. The pictures that they take every year. You remember that one? Remember when they take pictures and stuff? Well, guess what? Now, they told me this, parents said that they want them to give their, they got like multiple pieces of paper, and on the back page is their body, basically. It shows a picture of their body. And they want to know their favorite foods, their favorite movies, this, that. They want to know all about them, right? And then they want them to put their picture on the back page. And then they're going to take that and they're going to put it in a filing. It's going to be there for a while. And I'll tell you what, there's some parents that flipped out because, you know, why would they want to know all this information? They're at your school. You don't know them already? You got, you know, that's not for them. This was through the photograph people, the people that were doing the photographing at the schools. So this was bad. There's a lot of issues at the schools. Bullying is ridiculous. Why don't teachers intervene? If there's, you know, you take your kid to a babysitter, do they just sit back and let them bully the crap out of them, or do they actually make them mind and correct? So basically, you get a babysitter, and your kids will be properly taken care of, and then that's just the way I would go anyway. And let alone the lunches that they serve them, which are just a crock of crap. I mean, if you want your kids to eat unhealthy, take them to a drive-thru or let them eat at school. It's the same crap. Okay? I mean, nowadays you know that probably almost 95% of the food that is being processed in America is either fake or made in a lab. You know, bioengineered. You ever see that on a box? It's on all the food. Canned food, cereals. Yeah. There's nothing safe. I mean, I used to buy certain bread that was supposed to have been, you know, non-tampered, family-owned, blah, blah, blah. Now I find out, no, they're bad. So my point is, you're buying government food, right, through the schools. And the government food is your Walmart stuff, Kroger stuff. I mean, that's all corporated. It's all corporations. It's horrifying. If you're eating that, I'm praying for you. But I think the thing I want to really shove home is your kids are in danger at schools just as much as if they're on Facebook advertising their faces to all these weirdos that are looking at them. And I totally disagree with a lot of stuff the schools are doing, and they don't care. And if anybody's been to a school board, they don't give a shit. And why is that, you think? Why in the hell are they acting the way they are? Why do you think? They're either bad, and I mean bad, or they're just minions and they're doing what they're told for the money. But what I found out that really disturbed me was if you wanted to homeschool, and God, I hope you can, but in the state of Indiana, they have truant officers, and I think you all know that. And if you don't show up to school, they come looking for you because they want to indoctrinate your kids. They want to brainwash your kids and teach them absolutely nothing. That's the schooling system of the government. But what I found out was that if you wanted to homeschool your kid, they make it very hard. You have to fill out all this paperwork. You have to register your kid to the state. And then, maybe I shouldn't pass that up. Register your kid to the state. Remember that one. And then you have to take a test to see if you're qualified to teach your kid. Wow. Like, you know, parents are useless and dumb. That's what they're treating you like. No, it's because you're not going to indoctrinate your kid where they want to. And again, you get a choice too. When you homeschool your kid, you can pick the Maxwell books or the other books, which are good. I know for a fact. I don't remember the name of them. You would know if you researched them. There's only 2, I believe. And then also, I heard they do a checkup on you. I heard that they don't, but they can, to see if you're teaching your kids the curricula that they're supposed to, which I think's bullshit. Let's go back to the registering to the state, because you have to register your kid. If you homeschool your kid, you have to register with the state. Now, what do you register through the state? I register my car license plates, my ID, and then when you do that, you are part of the state. They pretty much own your ass. When you fill out your driver's license, you are a citizen of Indiana, and you agree to abide by laws, and they can pretty much screw you big time. And you don't even know this. I mean, I don't know anybody knows this because I just found out about it, and I think it's ridiculous, because when you get a license, you're agreeing to obey all their traffic laws and this and that. Well, the Constitution says you're free to travel, and that's the way it was until the corporations came in and did what they did. And you registered with them, right? So when you register your kid to the state, you pretty much signed over your kid to the state. And if you don't do what they tell you, what happens? They come to your house knocking, and they take your kid. Just like if you didn't obey them, they're going to take your license away and take your car away, because you really don't own it, right? Ain't that a bitch? I thought Indiana wasn't too bad of a place tax-wise. What bullshit that is. They're just as bad as everybody else. They're as bad as the person running it. If you have a city council that is just trash, well, you're gonna see it. And you're gonna see it in the pricing. You're gonna see it in the cities you live in. It's just messed up. So here's the gig. In Texas, you can pull your kid out of school and you write them this thing. I can't remember exactly how you write it. You can research it. They'll tell you exactly how to pull your kid. If you're in Texas, you can pull your kid right out of school by just saying a certain thing, and you ain't got to fill out no paperwork or nothing. And they cannot hassle you or even talk to you about it. So they must have went through a lot of shit to get to that point. So what they do is they fill out a piece of paper and they pull their kid out, and no more shit. No more curricular or nothing. It's up to them to teach their kids. Now that's the way it should be, because only you know what your kid is capable of. The skills that they have. When you raise your kid, if they're mechanical, if they're like in the art, you know this stuff. So who's better off to teach their kids, and who's going to be better off to teach their kids all these things? Oh, in Texas, you don't have to take a test to see if you're capable of teaching your kids anything. They give a lot of freedom there. And think about that. In Texas, you could sit there, and as a first grader, it takes about 30 minutes to do a daily schooling, as far as what they should go over, like math and English and stuff like that. 30 minutes. So as they get older, you spend a little more time to get the homework done. Think of the free time you have to teach your kids about gardening, how to cook, all these things. Where when your kid's at school, which I'm going to call it a babysitter, when you send your kids to school as a babysitter, they get indoctrinated. They get taught the things. I mean, look at it. How much stuff did you learn at your school when you went to school? I learned all the bad things. I learned terrible things at school. I like going to school, but here's the deal. You can still meet up with kids at the park. If you do pull your kids out of school, They know their numbers. They know how to get a hold of them. You can spend a lot of time there. And as far as your parents go, less indoctrinating. And then they can take you, after your schoolwork, they can take you to the zoo. They can take you on all kinds of adventures, the museums. They can teach you so much stuff about life. One thing, when I got out of school, and the job that I did, it was a grocery warehouse for Chicago. And all I had to know was even and odd. Even numbers on the right, odd numbers on the left, because they're all numbered for picking in their slots and picking up groceries, and then we were putting them on skids. All I had to know is that. So basically 1% of what I've learned at school I used. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You are wasting your kid's brain and your money and time. There's no reason for it. There's no reason at all. I advise everybody to try to figure it out, no matter what you got to do to homeschool your kid. I mean, look at it this way. Oh, I work too much. If you're only doing 30 minutes of schooling, then what are you talking about? You know, you work 8 to 10 hours a day, or one parent's part-time and the other one's full-time. I mean, you can do it if you really want to. And I love my kids, and I wish to God I would have known this when I was raising them. I fell into the same boat, but I could have swung it. I could have done it, but I did not know the horrifying things that they were teaching them at these public schools. I always thought, well, these private schools, everybody thought private schools, you're going to learn more. Private school, no. I'm telling you right now, your kids will be 85-90% smarter by you raising them and schooling them at home than you are in these public schools. I did not know that till now. And I told my kids the same thing probably 2 years ago, maybe longer. And I told them this, and they finally woke up. And they realized all the horrific things that the schools were doing to them. I mean, behind parents' backs, teaching them terrible things at school. Sure, they be able to talk to other kids and stuff, but what do you want? You want your kid to be a smarter kid, make great choices, and not be around the terrible things that they learn at these schools? It's an easy choice for me. But I thought that was very, very interesting how bad the schools are here. Well, in Indiana, and I'm sure there's a lot of places. I don't even know if there's any other places besides Texas that does that. It makes me want to move there because you get more freedom. That's the freedom of choice. When you can pull your kids out of school and not have any headaches, not somebody chasing you down and trying to put you in jail or make you feel like a bad parent. I mean, look at it this way. Are you a bad parent, or are these bad teachers? And all I see is bad teachers, bad board members of school boards. They're terrible. I don't think, honestly, the way they act, they're not loving people. They don't care about your kids. It's about the money. But that's what I wanted to tell you. You have choices. And sometimes they're hard choices. I would try and figure it out. I really would, because it's not like, everybody thinks, you're going to take 6 to 8 hours of your time trying to teach your kids. That's just not it at all. Like I said, first grade's like 30 minutes. As they get older and in the high school and stuff, you might be up to an hour and a half maybe. I mean, it's up to you, basically. And how you schedule everything and do it for your kids. I mean, I think it's great. But I wanted to get that out there and let you know about your schools. I mean, I'm just saying a little portion about your schools. I'm sure there's stuff out there that people can just be horrified and I mean, think about the unjust, where your kid's being beat up at school. right? And in this system that we live in, self-defense is self-defense, right? You're not guilty of anything if you're defending yourself. But in the schools, if you stand up for yourself and use self-defense, you get suspended just like the guilty person. Now, what's that teaching your kid? What is that? That's not even correct. And so therefore your kid cannot be out in society, and because they're not teaching them there or nothing. Like sex education. Really? You want your schools to teach your kids about sex education? I don't think so. I think it's a lot to do with people having time on their hands. And believe me when I tell you, you need to rethink this stuff, because this is not going to go away until parents start realizing that their kids are just being screwed over in these schools, and they get taught some terrible things. And the worst thing of it is they're not getting taught shit. I mean, the history is all a lie there. I mean, I know what I've been taught there as far as history, and it's all bullshit. Wow. It makes you feel like your life was wasted from the time you went to school till you were 18. That's what it makes you feel like. It's like, man, I just lost almost 20 years of my life going to a school and trusting them when you can't. Now, I wouldn't tell you any of this stuff unless I went through it personally, and I have went through it personally. I went through their school system. My kids already experienced some terrible things that they're doing at school, which they probably did to us. I mean, I remember when they made us basically get flu shots at school. That's a bunch of bullshit. It should never. Oh, if you don't get that, you can't go to school. That's not freedom. Are you kidding me? Freedom of choice, free will. They're taking it all away from you if you just let them. I wouldn't let them. Stand up for your rights. Stand up for your kids. I don't care if they got a law that says you got to do this and you got to do that. But if your kids are in danger at these schools, which I just told you a little part of it, then the law don't mean shit. You're protecting your kids over the law that some dumbass ped made. And that's how I feel about it. So hey, subscribe. Love you guys. Hit that like button. Leave a comment, and be smart about it, because your kids are your whole life. See you.